welcome to Podcast vs. Play, episode 201. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who realised with OnlyFans banning porn in a month, local restaurants will finally have waitresses again.
Jesus Christ.
Tony Bloody. Bop, 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 Dan. That's exactly the reaction I was expecting.
I ain't doing a little dance in a song with you.
Oh, you should have done. We swapped back. We're back where we're back where we belong.
Back where you belong, doing all the work, and I don't have to do anything.
We only had to do the episode number once, and
yeah. Look, you've had what 195 more times to practice than I have.
How you could practice?
No,
it's just relaying a number in order of the sequence.
No. It's already too much work. No.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Very good. I'm a bit egg. I'm all vibratey. I want to cut some trees like an hour before we did this. So.
Sorry, what?
I went to cut some trees.
You went to? You didn't.
No, I did. I did cut some stuff, but I had to cut it all down because I couldn't get it in the car. No, I used my electric saw.
Oh, so you still sort of got the shakes from the
electric saw, yeah. It's going,
yeah, like a giant vibrator.
Yeah.
Not like, no, I just meant like a vibrating
exactly
thing.
like that. Exactly like that.
Right. Let's tell you what, I was at the gym last week actually, and my trainer fella, we just done whatever we were doing, and then as we were coming back upstairs, they got I honestly, and I didn't question it before, I think it's because I'm used to work at B&Q and I'm just sort of used to seeing those power tool stands that sort of, they're around, they've got Makitas and stuff like that, and you can kind of feel the weight or whatever. I just assumed it was that without thinking, why is there a power tool section in the gym? That doesn't seem... why, But as we're going up, he's like, "Oh, have you seen these? By the way, they're so basically, it's like a giant vibrating, one's like a fork and one's like a ball, and you just sort of you've done a bunch of leg work, so you just go and just sort of
like massage yourself.
Basically, yeah. And I was like, no, I don't know why. I thought they were tools, and now that you pointed it out, obviously they're not. And he was like, yeah, just turn around. And he just sort of went on my back like that. And I was like, it's just this whole, oh my God, I've never felt something like that before.
The other day when you, sorry, just kind of jumped in there. You were talking about what can you get Zoe for a birthday?
Oh yeah.
We was in this gadget shop the other week, and they had them in there, and they had one. They had one the one thing. Looks like it looks like a big pepper grinder thing with a ball on the end of it, and they had that one. I just did it on her back, but they had another one which is like a thing you put over, kind of drape it over you like a scarf, but it does all your neck and everything. Right. But you can watch it, and it's just and it's honestly I was like, fucking hell, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the things I nearly sent you when I sent you that list of stuff was the pepper grindery one, because they had one on sale on Amazon. But I was like, he's not going to think that that's what it is. So
no, I'm not. Hey, can you buy my wife some sex toys? Right.
Which is the exact reason I just went, I'll leave that off the list. I'll let him pick something else.
Sorry, because you know for a fact that I would have done.
Yeah, and you would have probably bought it.
Put a little note with it, just to make up for Callum or something like that.
I'm not saying that's not what it would have got used for.
In the Amazon factory, they're like, "Oh, this poor bloke." Oh no.
But yeah, I mean, they're really good though. They're real good. The gun ones are the best.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. It was like a gun with a fork on it, and so there was 3 or 4 of them. But it was just these are just for anyone to use or whatever. And I was like, I get that. And I know that anyone who's going to be using it is going to be doing a
sweaty,
cool down, relaxy thing or whatever. In my brain, that's not how it looks, though. It looks like you're giving yourself a little bit too much pleasure in public, because these things are on a strap as well, so you can't take them away go into somewhere private and just sort of buzz yourself down
for that reason. I assume
you've got to stand. Good point. I was thinking more thievery more than, extra mopping up in the bathrooms. But
where's that wet floor sign?
And this is like at the top of the stairs, so like in front of quite a lot of people if it's busy, and just stand there going like, I'm just cooling down, like an absolute fucking lunatic.
I like it more that somebody else was doing it too.
No, that was me holding it, just like you tasing
I thought you were holding his
yourself.
hand.
It's like, lower. Oh. But I think if he was just sort of like, we'll do a cool down and do one of these, I'd be like, mate, I'd rather have cramp. If I'm honest, I'm not going to let someone else. I don't care who you are. I'm not letting anyone else, not even me, vibrate myself down after a workout. I'd rather feel awful the next day and have to stretch myself out properly.
What if I bought you one?
Happen.
So you could do it when you got home.
Sure, go for it.
So it's just the fact that it's in
use
public.
it to like mix cocktails or something. That's what it would really get used for.
Why don't they like have a curtain?
They
could just see your legs trembling underneath.
Like a dog having a shit.
That's probably what you would do. You'd be like, oh no.
And then you just press the emergency button. Just like ding ding ding. I need help, please.
I got one of them like what the old people have installed in the house, like the lifeline cords.
Yeah. Just in case you
just a cleaner comes with a mop.
Yeah. Well, it just comes with like those like pull out toilet seat things, like the paper ones. It's just like you just pull out a thing, you just massage yourself down, and if anything happens, it doesn't matter because you can just scoop it away in the
whatever happens happens.
There's no cameras. It's fine.
What happens in the gym stays in the gym.
Yeah,
unless you're with Jim and get it out of him. It's not what it's for.
What, though, it annoys me because I really quite like. This sounds weird, probably saying it, but I like seeing like very, like not necessarily overweight, but just people who just aren't like super shredded or whatever, like going to because it makes me go, I'm not the only one who's just like maintaining like a healthy whatever. There's a lot of people that come in and like they go, actually, I'm going to take these first steps and I'm going to get. Like, I've got way more respect for someone who's fat and he's trying to sort themselves out rather than someone who is shredded beyond recognition, who are just there to kind of top things up again.
Yeah.
My gym does not have.
Not saying that you shouldn't go to the gym if you're already.
No. If you're shredded, more power to you. You've got a lot more fucking patience than I have. But my gym does not have that sort of like. That like class divide. It is all people who are shredded and look amazing, male and female, and anything in between. Everyone just looks banging in there. And then I come in, like just a bit flabby, and like my proportions don't really work properly, and I'm just sort of like, I don't belong here.
Well, no,
like,
that's the opposite though. You do belong there for that reason. Like,
yeah, but if there was like, who's getting priority of like all the machines if it was busy? Is it the people who are like shredded or the people who actually need to use them? It's going to be the people who are shredded because they're like 85% of people that I've seen in there easily.
Yeah, but I imagine they look at it the exact same though. So you're saying like you've got a lot of respect for people who are coming in and they're maybe overweight or not quite as healthy as they should be, and you're like, yeah, you're doing the right thing.
Good on you. Yeah.
I imagine those other people look at regular folk like you the same way and just go,
I don't know. Nice one. I think I was waiting for a machine, so I'm still sort of getting used to all of this, so I don't really know what. I had to go to the office and say, sorry, like I don't know what this machine is. It's called this, and there's usually like a little video or something that'll include.
That's the stairs. That's the lift.
It's a water fountain, you idiot. I'm going to go back upstairs and have another 10 minutes on that until I can't remember what I just said to you.
I'm just going to use that. Fuck it.
Well, I just want to, I want to call you. I just want to put that thing in my throat there. So I'm just going to call you.
Knock your Adam's apple out.
I think it does sound funny for a bit until it does permanent damage, and then yikes. But I was waiting for. So there was a guy, and he was going between two machines, but he kept on he had like a knee brace on. So I think he was like doing some sort of like physical therapy or something, and he kept on using the same things. And and there was another dude on the same machine, sort of like 3 or 4 down, but he just sort of started when I'd finished the set that I was doing. So I went to this guy who was like sort of flitting between them. Bear in mind, sort of Bagsying like 2 machines at the same time.
Yeah, dick move.
Not really on, but kind of whatever. I'm not at that point where I can sort of go, you can't come into the gym and just use 2 machines at the same time,
Not if you do it like Alan Partridge, no.
Damn. But I went over to him and I was just like, oh, are you using, because he was doing his cool down or whatever, and just sort of waiting there. So I was like, oh, are you using this one? And he was like, and got up and was like pissed off that I'd sort of, and I was just like, mate, you're not using it at the moment. No. Like, I was like, oh, are you just about to get on it? Because I'd rather not interrupt your flow, so to speak. But he looked pissed off, so that makes me just think that everyone who's there who's shredded, they definitely don't want me there because I don't know what I'm doing, and they're the priority.
I mean,
but the only saving graces I've had is that I was waiting for one thing because there was a dude who was just going to town, and this really nice woman just tapped me on the shoulder and she was like, oh, you waiting for that machine? I was like, yeah, and she was like, oh, there's like one here that's totally free. And I was like, yep.
Yes, there is.
I didn't even look 90 degrees to just go, there it is. So I was like, oh, fucking hell, right.
You're not there to exercise your eyes, Dan.
Apparently not. But then as soon as I sat on it, I realised it wasn't actually the machine I needed in the first place. I was like, fuck. But I can't just fuck
you gotta
off
use
now.
it now.
I've got to use it, yeah. So I did extra exercise. And now, look at this, drinking fucking Diet Coke and shit. My life's just turned around, and not in a good way. I mean, obviously in a good way, but
I was going to say, it's a pretty good way. I know you before we started this podcast, you were telling me how delicious your bloody smoothies are.
Yeah, that's true.
And although you can have jerky.
Every time, maybe. I still want to broach that with, like, I took some talking, like, to get sushi on the menu. Like, that was just sort of like, can I, if I'm not getting a kebab, can I get sushi? Is that okay? And he's like, I guess, yeah, it's fine. Jerky, though, it is just pure meat, and it is very good quality meat, the stuff that I get, but it is very salted because it's dried meat, it's cured, isn't it? It's how you do it. But like, so I haven't like had any like soft drinks or anything like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I went to Nando's on Saturday. I saw another wrestling show on Saturday. Oh yeah, I sent you a picture of it, didn't I? That woman with a busted nose. Felt so bad for her. They actually, Kieran, obviously, my mate, he knows how this all works. He reckons that they ended the match early because that wasn't supposed to happen. Like this woman did like a flip and like her knee was like in a weird place, and I think she just sort of like smacked herself in the face.
No.
Or the other girl like clocked her or something by mistake, and there's blood. I mean, they played into it really well. Like, so she was like trying to steal the belt, and she was like, "No, look what she's done to me." But they were just sort of like, yeah, you win. Like they just wrapped it up very quickly. But we went to Nando's before that, and I was like, well, I don't really even know if I can go there. But I was like, well, it's just chicken, and it's cooked on a grill, and then like got some like salad and some broccoli, and it was fine. It was like totally fine. There wasn't anything. But then I got like a diet Sprite, and I was just like, even fizzy drinks, I don't feel like I should be drinking that. But I don't know if you could see, but like all of the like things on the like the is it healthy, is it whatever? Yeah. They're all 0. Like fat 0, saturated fat 0, sugar 0, salt 0. Like there's nothing in it. And I was like, that can't be. It still just doesn't feel right to drink this. Do you know what I mean? It feels like I should just be drinking water, and that's it. Yeah, of course.
So
it's just fizzy Coke with none of the shit.
Yeah, that's like the carbonation side of it's not great for you.
Well, don't tell me that. I just bought 8 of these fucking things because I thought that'll do me.
I told you this the other week. Diet Coke's just as bad for you as normal Coke, just in a different way.
Well, there's other than the whatever's in the energy thing, so it's just caramel sweeteners, whatever. There's nothing else in it that needs to be reported, I guess. So it's just it's one thing after another. And then I'm going for dinner with a mate of mine tomorrow, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to go to Red's?" Now, anyone who lives in Manchester, Red's is a incredible like pit barbecue kind of place.
Lady of the Night bar.
I don't know if I can go there.
You can have a cheat day.
But that's the thing. Does that just not undermine everything I've just done for the last couple of weeks? Do you know what I mean?
No, the Rock has a cheat day.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to worry about that cheat day. That he's not just gonna just turn into a fucking blob.
Neither are you.
As soon as he eats a pizza.
Neither are you.
It's more likely to affect me than it is his.
Yeah, because you won't stop knowing you.
Yeah. I was talking to someone who works at. Who works with me. They've got a trainer as well. And they said that you can have that pizza, you can have that takeaway, or whatever. Do you feel you've earned it though? So like, if you've gone and you've killed it that day, you've done 15,000 steps, you've gone to the gym, you've crushed it. Have you earned that pizza? Yeah, you probably have. So fucking crack on. You sat around in your pants all day not doing anything. No, you haven't. I think that's a good little mentality to have.
I will counter that, Dan. A few weeks ago, you wasn't exercising at all.
Right.
So you've been exercising since then.
Yeah.
So you've earned it. You've done more than you'd done previously, and this will be your first cheat meal.
Well, tomorrow I've got another session, so I'm actually going to be beasted.
There you go
then. But I've got a cool little app though that I can just type my food into. So if we do end up going there, then I'll just make sure I just get like, I'll have a sausage, please.
What I'd love,
a sausage and a glass of tap water.
If your trainer, we'll call him Dave, like when you're typing the stuff into the app, it's just him. And he's just going, no, I'm not having fucking that.
You can just deny it. It's like authorising my food intake. It's like, no, you're not having that. So it's like, I've got to go. I can't eat, and I'm not going to sit here on my own. So I'm going to eat a napkin, have a sip of water, and fuck off back to the gym.
You just get a text. He's like, leave that napkin. Like, I can't do anything.
There's too much like fat and stuff in the air. It's going to be like eating a slice of pizza.
It's a greasy napkin.
All I can think is it's like a barbecue place, so it's like it's just meat cooked on a barbecue. Like, it's a lot of protein. There'll probably be like fat in like glazes or whatever, but it's got to be all right. I guess.
Bear in mind, my friend Scott was a Marine. I mean, I say was, he still is. And he was.
What, was your friend or was a Marine?
No, he was a Marine. I said he was a Marine. I said, well, he's still a Marine, but
right, okay.
He was like really over the top about what he eats and everything else. And then, like, he'll have like a day in the week where he just goes, fuck it. Again, like the next day, he's doing, instead of doing 6 hours in the gym, he's doing 7 hours in the gym. But
I ain't doing 6 hours in the fucking gym.
That's an exaggeration. I'm just saying, like.
Right. Okay. Right.
But yeah, I mean, like he forgot he's forgot his stuff. Like, he pre-makes his food, and sometimes he'd come to work, and this actually before he went to the army, and he'd end up just going and getting like 5 baguettes and just eating them to get him through the shift, because like every couple of hours he needed to eat something, so he'd just get like tuna baguettes and he'd eat them.
It's that side of it that's really pissing me off. It's not the healthy food is just more expensive anyway, which I fucking hate. It's the fact that you need to eat more consistently for the day. Because you know what I'm like? I wouldn't eat until sort of 11 o'clock at night, and that would be the only time I'd eat during the day.
But that's not good for you.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. But it means that eating more during the day, it costs more because I would need to replace it sooner. And that winds me up. Like, it's going to cost me more just to not die sooner?
What winds me up is, I've told you this for fucking years, Dan, that you need to have a more steady and consistent like routine.
Well, it's just I'm busy at work, and then as soon as I finish work, then I want time for me, and then it's by the time I'm sort of like, oh, okay, I'll wind down for a bit. Oh, it's 11:30, I should probably eat something. But it just, like, in a way, it just sort of like trains your body to just like, right, we're not going to get any food for the next 23 hours, so we save everything, and then we
let's just have an entire joint of lamb and gravy.
Yeah. I think that's why it's tricky to get used to. Yeah. Like, I've got to like make time to do things during the day.
Joking aside, like I don't want to say most people like you're a fucking weirdo or nothing. Like, you eat when you eat, but realistically, most people are in that regime from a very early age throughout the rest of the, like, tea time was always 5 o'clock for me growing up, and I continued to do that, and it's only over like this last maybe couple of years, really. Well, I'd say since me and Zoe went on opposite shifts, and I had to make my own food. Now I've stretched it. Yeah, just have some fucking. I bought a new toaster machine the other day. It's fucking great. But
oh, nice.
Now I have to make my own food. I've stretched it to like 6 o'clock because I've made Logan's, and I'm like, oh, not really hungry now, so I'll wait and then I'll have it about 6 o'clock. But up until, like I say, a few years ago, 5 o'clock, that's my tea time.
On the dot.
Yeah, I have my breakfast, I have my lunch, and I have my tea. If I'm still
because work's just so unpredictable for me at the moment. Well, not unpredictable, but it's just there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
So I can't really be quite so militant about like 10 o'clock I'll do this, at 1 o'clock I'll do this. Like as soon as I get like like when you're just in a task at work and you just there's a beat, there's just a pause where you just sort of like, oh, okay, I could step away for 10 minutes and not break my rhythm. That's when I'll fucking stuff a bunch of kale and berries and shit in a thing and blend it. And that takes like 30 seconds to put together, and then you sort of drink that for the next bit. But whilst I don't really like anything about it, because like eating healthily, it's expensive, but like it's not like I can go, oh, but I'm not feeling the benefits of it, so that justifies why I'm not going to do it. Yeah, I feel great. And that really pisses me off as well, because I'm just like, well, then it just proves that it is worth it, which means I have to keep on doing it, which means it's going to cost me more overall.
Oh, you don't have to do anything, but it's just recommended.
Yeah, I love the fact I'm whinging about just like the most basic level of like, this isn't like...
I can't believe I've got to like just, do what most people do.
I can't believe I can't just sit in my pants all day and eat jerky and smoke cigars. What is the world?
But again, cheat day. You can still do that.
Yeah, the thing is that like with the jerky that I buy, it's in like sort of like
it's not like you go to Asda and buying a packet of Cowboy Raw Shanks beef jerky.
Yeah, like Sheriff Doodad's original tangy jerky or whatever. This is like it's from a proper like it's properly put together.
It's from a real cow.
Apparently. But it's in like sort of like 250 gram bags. The problem is though, is that when you open it, you can't reseal it.
Yeah, so you have to eat it.
So, well, not all in one go, because I've done that before.
Which you have done.
I have because it is delicious, but it's also sort of like, oh, that was like 20 quid.
Yeah.
Like I should have spaced that out a bit more and enjoyed it a bit more. So all you can do is sort of like fold it over, sort of thing. Like if it came with like one of those sort of like zip lock things that keep it fresh for a couple of... Because it's like, like when you buy like cheese or whatever, and it's just like, oh, you get this big old wheel of cheese or a block of cheese, and it's like, oh yeah, when you open it though, you've got 3 days.
Yeah, you gotta have it all.
And it's just like, oh, I can't eat that much cheese in one.
I mean,
like,
you can.
I die. I definitely die. They just like cut me open for the autopsy, and then when they just peeled it back, it just like cheese string. It just like, oh no! It's like, oh, what the fuck was he eating?
Like they push down on your head, and it comes out like them Play-Doh things.
I just get my arm and just. Anyway, sorry. You've probably got some news you want to talk about.
Yeah, we were going to talk about some stuff on a podcast, but I much prefer this, to be honest. So, we've got a little bit of summer. We've got some What If, Dan. Some Marvel's What If on Disney Plus, the hit new show. Yes. This week's episode is sponsored by Disney Plus. It's not.
It's not.
Blueberry again. It'll be in the middle somewhere. So we haven't talked about this, Dan. Obviously, we have watched episodes 1 and 2, so we're going to start with episode 1. Let's have a little bit of a recap. What did you think of Captain Carter, the first female Avenger? Not just first Avenger, I suppose, because she's still the first one.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was kind of like a highlight reel of Captain America: The First Avenger. Yeah. And then they just said everything that happened in the First Avenger, like the train chase, finding Zola, getting the shield, blah 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 blah, all of that stuff, it still happens. It's just it's Peggy now instead of Steve. I'd say the best change that came from it is that Steve was still a part of it, and he was in the Hydra Stomper suit, so basically the Iron Man suit. What I loved about that, though, is that, Steve was going to be, it was still, all the setup was still the same, except that she just made a decision to stay downstairs instead of going upstairs, and she could have stopped the whatever. But Steve, he can't go through with the experiment. Peggy steps in, she becomes Captain Carter. I mean, she looks banging as well, like shredded as, yeah. But then they just sort of like, well, this useless, weak, sick soldier, we'll just stick him in the giant metal robot. There's no pilot. There's no one else that could have just sort of gone in and, professionally could have flown that suit around or whatever.
So, obviously he gets shot, doesn't he?
Apparently.
I can't remember.
I will
I'm
say
sure he got
that's
shot.
my one criticism of this whole thing. It is incredibly bloodless.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
It's still on, it's still on Disney Plus.
I don't want like RoboCop levels of like and heads exploding or whatever. But
something
like the shirts don't even tear.
Yeah.
Like it's just sort of like, oh come on, like if you're gonna shoot them, at least pretend that you shot them. Not that it's not like from the 40s where you go bang and they go hey! And then they just drop to the floor and that's it. They've been shot and they're dead.
Well,
like,
why didn't they still put him in though? Because it would have healed him.
Or maybe he would have just had like one gigantic super wound. It would have just kept spreading open, and he would have just ended up looking like Krang from the Turtles.
But that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, they weren't though. Like they just got like one bit of super soldier serum and enough power to just get one blast in. It felt like it was just a rush through the film, and like the outcome was still basically the same thing. Yeah,
it's just obviously Red Skull gets squashed instead of being transported elsewhere, and obviously
so I mean, there's bigger
Bucky doesn't fall.
Things. Yeah, there's a lot of like I was surprised at the amount of like actual actors they got back to do their own voices, which I thought was cool. That they just, I mean, it was like come in for 10 minutes, record 50 lines, and then seen a bit.
Not Steve Rogers though. Captain America, Chris Evans. I don't think he was in it.
No, he wasn't. No, the same as Peter Quill for the next episode.
Yeah, Chris Pratt and Dave Bautista.
No, Dave Bautista was in it. Chris Pratt wasn't.
No, Dave Bautista's not in it. I mean, I'm assuming you don't go on Instagram or Twitter or anything, because all he's done since the release of this trailer is fucking complain about how he wasn't in it.
I could have, because I checked the credits.
Sounds like him.
To see, like,
no, 100%.
There was maybe someone else. Kurt Russell, sorry, that's who I'm thinking of.
I always get Dave Bautista and Kurt Russell confused.
No, it was just that it was a voice that was in it that I wasn't expecting, like someone to come in and do that. Like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Robert Downey Jr. Go, well, maybe they are just a bit too big to just sort of come in for a day and then just do some stuff. Or more than likely they've got other projects that's more time consuming or whatever. But I was just like, okay, Russell just turned up for like one line, brilliant. You could have just done it over the phone. I don't know.
I mean, there's spoilers for episode 2 that we'll touch on after, but
spoilers for all of it, mate.
No,
there's a weird sort of like lip sync thing that just doesn't seem like when people are talking, their lips don't really seem to match up to the words they're saying. Which
I think it's just
at certain points really
weird animation style. I like the animation.
I mean, it's just like flappy mouth animation. It's like basic video game lip sync animation, I guess, but. There was times where I was just like, their mouths weren't even close to doing what they were just trying to say. But one thing that I really fucking liked, I don't know if this is obviously true or not, and I don't know if you'd feel the same way, but it felt like a lot of the action they put into this like Captain Carter episode, it felt like things that they wanted to do in the movie that they either couldn't film or couldn't afford. Like it's a whole thing where like she's like in the sky and like goes through like the front of a plane and just batters. I was just like, that's incredible. Like that is an action scene. Why wasn't that like when they did like the sort of like the 3-minute montage of like Captain America and the Howling Commandos? Why didn't we get shit like that where he's like busting through vehicles and like taking planes out of the sky?
This is still in a very early times of Phase 1. And
that's what I mean, though. Is that like things that they thought would be cool to see, but they couldn't get clearance on it, or they couldn't actually go? It's going to be too expensive to film, and they go in animation. Just do whatever you want.
Because they've done that in a lot of the Avengers cartoons, that kind of stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah. Just it's like it's mad action and 50 buildings fall down or whatever, but it's just like, yeah, to try and film it and make it look good, it would be a bit shit, maybe.
This is pretty cool. I think it's Avengers Assemble. I watch a lot of the Marvel cartoons with Logan, but not that you need to ask me. But it's quite a cool episode where I forgot who they're fighting, but Falcon gets his wings taken off him and thrown out of the plane, and they chuck it back, and then Cap jumps. He basically takes somebody out, and then goes through the air, gets the wings, puts the wings on, and then flies down and catches Falcon. But like the whole the way he does it, it's quite cool. It's like a cool little action scene, and it's cool to see Captain America with the wings and it not be the other way around. So Falcon as Captain America. It was quite cool. That was it.
There are some interesting sort of things of like, oh, that would have been cool to see in live action. But like you say, it was still like the third film, I think, for Phase 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got Hulk and Iron Man and
still
Cap.
kind of feeling, yeah. But on the whole, I thought it was not the strongest start.
It was fine.
It was still interesting, but it just felt like it was just, they just went, right, what were the key points from that? From that film, right? They did this, they said this person was in it, and just tweak it slightly, and then just play that same thing out.
I think it's definitely more after seeing episode 2. Yeah. It's definitely more noticeable that this is just the first Avenger with some minor changes, because the second episode is neither Guardians of the Galaxy nor Black Panther.
No,
it's own thing, and I assume all of the remainder of the What If season is going to be the same kind of thing. So it's going to be an amalgamation of characters that you like and characters you know and some you don't like, but it's going to be something completely different. Whereas I think Captain Carter was just here's a good solid cartoon. And that's all it was. Like, it was fine. I was like, I'm glad it went. I know a lot of people, yourself included, saying like, why wasn't this the first episode? How disappointed would you be if that was the first one and then Captain Carter was the second one?
Yeah, I would have been like, oh man, what a step down.
That's what I mean. So it can only get better by this logic.
Yeah, I guess. But like the Disney Plus shows that they've been making so far, like whether you prefer one or another, they're all debatable.
Yeah.
But each of them are consistent in their own. So like Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was steady all the way through. Same as Wanda, it was all mystery. It was all what the hell's going on. And then Loki was the best one, obviously. But it was consistent the whole way through. It wasn't like, oh, that was a shit episode. What happened there? Why would they just sort of it was just all talking. It was all in flashbacks or whatever.
Yeah.
It was always just consistent. Whereas this just seems to be like, oh.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Like, where did that one come from?
But if Captain Carter's the worst one, that's still not bad.
No, I mean it's still fine. Like I say, there was some really redeeming moments in it, but you're just doing the same thing that we've already seen. So it's the same. Bucky, like, oh god, could have lost my arm there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience. But then in the Star-Lord episode, like right at the start, like. It just totally changed it when what's his name, Jimon Honsu.
Yeah,
Star-Lord. Like, and it's like Star-Lord's like, oh, Star-Lord, no way. And he's like, oh, should I bow? Like, what do I do? Like that whole thing, I was just like, oh yeah, this is already this is way different than just the vibe I was getting from it, because he wasn't he wasn't dancing around and being wacky or whatever. He was just like he was like a competent heist artist sort of thing. And then, like, when, you meet your Ravagers, but again, Yondu, doing his, whistle arrow through everyone, didn't really get the sense that arrow was going through anyone. It just seemed to bumped into him, they're down.
Yeah, I mean, they played it safe and did it camera quite far away.
Power Ranger-wise. Just sort of like, oh, you hit, you got sparks, oh, you're down. You're either knocked out or dead, and we won't confirm either way. But you're just out. It's like playing tag. It's like, oh, you're out. No one questioned it though.
Yeah,
it was just zipping around and that sort of stuff. But we got to see his Ravager crew. So no Rocket, no Groot, no Gamora, no Drax, no Mantis. So all of the Guardians we've seen so far, none of them are present.
We've got a Thanos.
we've got a Thanos instead. What an inclusion! I tell you what, mate.
Josh Brolin as well,
and him, yeah. I don't know if that was ever teased in any of the trailers or if it was announced or leaked or whatever. I had no idea that was coming. And he was just in it, and I was just like, oh, that's like a fun, cool little. Yeah. Oh, you know, he's not a prick. If T'Challa was there, he could have just talked him round, and he'd be like, yeah, it probably would have been a stupid idea, wouldn't it?
The irony being that Peter Quill's Star-Lord, caused Endgame.
Yep.
Because of his emotions get the better, and he had to hold on for a little bit longer.
Yep.
And then T'Challa prevented Infinity War.
At all, like the whole thing, the whole Infinity Saga. He was just like talked him around, and he's like, "Yeah, it's probably a stupid idea, wasn't it?
Let's join up."
But then, like, Nebula's still Nebula, but
femme fatale.
Yeah, but she's still like Thanos' daughter, Nebula.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed it's just a bit odd.
I mean, she'd still be his daughter, regardless, wouldn't she?
No, yeah, but if he'd been talked out of, like, you know, his whole campaign against the universe, like, you know, would he have gotten to the point where he'd got Gamora and, like, was Gamora in it? I just thought, actually.
She wasn't in that, no.
No. But, like, Drax is a bartender, and, you know, he's like taking selfies
his
with
family's
Star-Lord.
Still alive.
Apparently, yeah. So they didn't, like, Thanos didn't get that far into his whole conquest thing.
I did like that. It's like, it's all in a day's work. It's like, no, it was several days. 6 to be precise. It's like, yeah, you kept it. I like it.
But then the Collector shows up, and he's like this super shredded, like,
he's just got
awesome
fucking
Collector.
Orgs coming out of the fucking eyeballs.
Yeah, he's like a Deus Ex Machina, like Collector now, which I prefer, frankly. I definitely want to see him just like one-shot some fools. But we still got Cosmo. We still got Howard the Duck. Seth Green, brilliant. Like as a voice, so hopefully that means that Howard's going to be a bit more like, because they've only really used or teased him in the Guardians movies. So,
well, I've heard rumours that there's going to be a Hulu animated show with Seth Green as voicing Howard. So
cool. I think that's he's a good voiceover artist. Yeah, definitely.
That means
it'll
be on Disney Star. Same as MODOK.
Yeah. But like including Howard's great take. I was hoping that, you know, they'd open some of those. Like I liked like the Collector's like sort of like, you know, oh, this is my wall of whatever, and it's just like Captain America's shield, like Loki's daggers, Hela's helmet, Thor's hammer. So I was like, so is he the Thanos then? Like, did he just go to Earth and just wipe everybody out?
You mean he's big and hench? He's got all these orgs. He's got Korg's hand.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a Doomfist kind of thing. But then why wouldn't the Ravagers stop him? Like, if they clearly Thanos was in their radar when he was trying to get all the Infinity Stones.
They'd said that the there's a like, I forgot what Yondu says something about having nothing to do with the Collector. So I don't know whether there's something that previously happened that maybe we're going to find out later on in the series.
Yeah, because it's just sort of like, okay, so you're for good and justice, and, you know, you save planets and people and whatever, but this guy who's just keeping thousands of individuals in tiny little cages. Yeah, cool with that. Yeah,
I suppose it's because he's already got all of these abilities. Like, realistically, like, if T'Challa hadn't been there and he had his plan, what could they have done?
Yeah, I guess. I do like the fact that they didn't go with the Thanos double cross. It was just like, oh, he's always going to be a bad guy through and through. Where he's doing a bit of bloody self-sacrifice and everything as well. Yeah, and he's just like, yeah, go on, guys, I'll sort these guys out, because he is their Hulk.
It's effectively what it is. Like, massively nerfed, but
it's a reasonable trade-off. Like, you know, universal galactic threat, or, you know, really really strong dude. I
liked it. It was a good take on him, and
it's nice to just sort of go, like, just one person can just talk him around, like, just in the right situation with the right people. He wouldn't be a prick.
How old is he? Like 8 when he gets taken. It's pretty young, isn't he?
Youngish, yeah.
So it depends. Like, obviously, if Black Panther gets like his diplomatic training or whatever, I don't know what age that would start from, but I assume.
Well, yeah, because he was raised as a prince, so you know, it's sort of, you know, be good and just and that noble and that kind of stuff. Whereas Peter Quill didn't even want to talk to his own mother dying.
Yeah, I
no
did
wonder
see.
He just sort of gets a bit mad.
Obviously, we know Chadwick was available to. I think he's done 4 episodes. But it was a really cool thing that I saw Kevin Feige was on about that. After he recorded the lines for this first one, he was saying like, how can we get this T'Challa in Black Panther 2? So like a little bit more quirky, a little bit more like.
Oh right, I thought you meant like Star-Lord T'Challa.
No, but like this kind of. So he's not just deadpan everything.
Bit
like
more Han Solo-y.
Yeah, but just more. I suppose like it, because my biggest issue with Black Panther is he's not a very likable person. Like,
well, he's still the king, isn't he? So there's always got.
That's
to be
what I mean.
There's
that difference between him and a Tony Stark, and everyone likes Tony Stark because he's a bit of a lad and he's all there.
I'll have a press conference, but I'll eat some cheeseburgers.
Yeah, but with Black Panther you don't get that, which is completely understandable because, like I say, he's royalty, and that's not how they're raised. But
I think that I now that you say it like that, I never really thought of it like that. But I think like Okoye has probably got more charisma. Than T'Challa.
Yeah. She's sarcastic and smarmy, and
she's like she's got a
and his
she's
sister.
a complete and utter badass, and you know, like she's like Rhino's the charger, and she's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the kind of stuff that he needs. And
I didn't even think of it like that, but yeah,
obviously, unfortunately, we're not going to get that, sadly. But it's opened up a really kind of interesting thing of like, okay, well, what are they going to do with Black Panther 2? You know, which makes the most sense because again, like Shuri in that she had she seemed to have a lot more kind of personality and you know, she was funny, but she was brilliant, like way above the curve level of brilliant. It seems a bit disrespectful to just replace him. So if they replace him with his sister, that feels more natural. Like, it'd be interesting to see how they get to that point. Have they filmed any of Black Panther 2 already with him? Is he going to be in it at all?
Because I guess it would be more technology. It should be like a tech-based Black Panther rather than like a
I'd see her
flower-based.
As how Spider-Man is at the moment. So she's got the suit and everything else, and she's clearly capable of looking after herself, but she's going to rely on a lot of the tech and stuff that she's going to make.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't really seen her like. She hasn't got like. She's not like a Black Widow kind of like, you know.
No. But I mean,
she's a genius.
Yeah, I mean, she's not afraid to go into a fight. And
oh yeah, but
she had them bloody cannons.
Yeah, she's not going to go hand to hand because she's like, I'm not going to win that.
No. But she had the big panther gauntlets, and she's like,
which is cool. So that's what I think. Like, if she's got like a tech suit so like the suit can do like all the crazy like speed running and like parkour and all that kind of stuff. So she doesn't have to train how to do it. The suit can just do it for her, maybe. So like a sort of Tony Stark, Ironheart kind of.
I doubt that.
If you wanted an exact kind of Black Panther, just sort of like fast, very capable running, like good thinker, like knows what she's doing in a fight and like in a meeting. Although she's more sort of like, oh fuck this, can we just kick shit out of her instead? But she'd be a good stand-in, I guess. I've
got a feeling something's gonna, whatever it is in the film, and it's gonna be like a kind of jerk reaction thing, where she's gonna put the necklace on and then she's gonna get the suit, but she's done it just to go like, fuck, I need to get out of here, and she just puts it on.
Or maybe like a few people try it on. So like, you know, Shuri tries it on, Okoye tries it on, whatever his bodyguard's name was, you know, the one that shows up in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
She's one of the other Dora Milaje anyway, but you know, and then like M'Baku, you know, so like a few times, and then like maybe if they don't go like, this is going to be the new Black Panther, they just sort of, right, we've got like a team of 4 people, they've all been Black Panther now. What's the reaction? Who do people like? If everyone's like, oh, Shuri should definitely be the one, they go, boom, that's who will name as Black Panther. But I totally agree. I don't want them to just say, now this person, you're now the new Black Panther, because it doesn't feel right
What if that's what they've done in What If? What if in this Shuri is Black Panther? Because he was because
he wasn't there.
T'Challa wasn't there. It's gone to his sister, and we test we test the waters that way. People don't like it. We don't do it in the we don't put it in the movie.
That's not a bad idea, actually, because like T'Chaka's still alive.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's technically still Black Panther.
Well, I don't know. Can you see him in that suit running about? Probably not.
I mean,
like you've got to get to a point where you just sort of like even like old Captain America Steve Rogers. He's not going to be like, oh, can we not have a fight? Can we just have a chat instead? Like, I just want to have the Horlicks and go to bed, mate. I'm done with the fighting. Yeah, but I genuinely really liked the second one.
Yeah, and it was a cool heist. Very cool.
Yeah, it was just a cool heist mission.
It was a good mix of like Guardians, Black Panther, Ant-Man. Purely for the heist,
like, he's gone. You know, he's got like a Wakandan ship now. And he's gone back to Earth to see his family again. But I definitely like if they were just like, oh yeah, so because you weren't here, someone else, like his mate, you know, the Rhino guy or someone else from from one of their tribes, they would named the new Black Panther or something like that. Again, I think you're probably onto something with like, you know, if they go, oh well, you were here, you weren't here, so Shuri, she's Black Panther now, and then we've still got all the Black Panther flowers because Killmonger didn't come in and burn them all down. Yeah. But like, is she going to be like the new Tony Stark kind of thing? Because like,
maybe
if
she's a genius.
Well, no, think about it, because like if Captain America and Thor and all of the Avengers,
I see it. Like,
Earth, they're gone.
Yeah,
because the Collectors fucked them all up for whatever particular reason. So let's, you know, if the invasion of New York happened and he was behind it instead of Thanos or whatever, and you know all the Avengers got killed, what if Shuri or someone from Wakanda, again, still a very sort of like enclosed, no one really knows about them kind of deal. If Shuri took over the Black Panther role, or sorry, if Shuri didn't take over the Black Panther role because of, you know, her dad's still Black Panther, what if she was Iron Man or Ironheart? Yeah. Like instead of it being Rambeau, it's Shuri both? Instead.
Like Iron Panther.
Yeah.
But like a vibranium Iron Man suit.
A vibranium nano suit or something, yeah. Or like if like after all the Avengers are wiped out, like Wakanda sort of steps forward and goes, yeah, we're actually like way ahead of everyone. Like we'll make some new Avengers, so like you're an Air Force pilot, let's pop you in a sweet nanotech. Boom, Ironheart, done. You know, let's put you in a vibranium
shield.
Yeah, like, but it's like a
take retractable
riot shield or something. It's like, oh, you can fight. Yeah, sure. Do you want 2 arms? I mean, ideally. Never mind. Right, pop this one on. Now you're the Winter Soldier. Next, you just give them all just like tech overhauls or whatever.
I mean, I can see him doing that.
I'd say that.
Not that.
That's no, but it's like, it's a good way of just sort of saying like, the Collector took out all the Avengers, or he just wanted to collect the Avengers. Yeah. So maybe they're not even dead; they're just in one of those cages, and he's just got all their kit, their gear. So you know, let's create a new set of Avengers with just what have we got left on Earth? Left? You know, the military and Wakanda. That's pretty much it.
I think it'd work, mate.
Could work. It'd be an interesting what if kind of story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, these are the perfect. I mean, this is very different to the comic runs where they were very. What if Peter Parker became the Punisher? And you know, like really bizarre situations where this seems to be. What if this person was somebody else in the MCU in that instead of that person? Like,
well, this is the thing I think I prefer about it, rather than them saying, "What if one decision leads to a different set of circumstances? Yeah. What if one character was switched out for another? So what if, you know, instead of you know, Tony Stark being Iron Man, what if it was Shuri?
Yeah.
Like, clearly, you know, probably smarter than Tony Stark, but not a dick. So if she found herself in that position, like, she'd make, like, if she did the same sort of thing to become Iron Man, she'd be a totally different Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, it wouldn't be people who are booing and, you know, scared of him or whatever. Because he will just fly into your village and shoot everybody, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you know, maybe she would, again, she's a princess, you know, maybe she'd be a bit more diplomatic and, you know, nice
be more about
things.
The people and
exactly.
not
so
so
actually,
selfish.
like, helping people rather than just going, how about we just get like loads of robots and they can just protect us and we don't have to bother with this anymore?
Yeah,
because he just seemed to be like, for the second he created the Iron Man suit, he just seemed to be trying to find any reason not to be Iron Man anymore.
Some of the stuff that was because of, like, he wanted to be Pepper. He's like, I don't need to do this anymore. Like, I can still save the world, but I don't need to do it. We can just, be a normal couple.
Yeah, but then don't tell the Mandarin where you live, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, but then it's just reverting back to Tony being Tony, and
exactly,
I'm the invincible Iron Man.
Except when I get squished, or, you know, it gets turned off, or a guy with a hot hand can just cut straight through it, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's also films like if his plans worked, they'd be pretty boring films.
Right.
Imagine if, like, all 3 Iron Man films, you don't see him, Tony, out of the suit, or you only see Tony when he's not in the suit, kind of thing. And it gets to the last one, and it turns out every time we saw Iron Man, it was never Tony Stark.
It was happy the whole time.
No, I just meant like it was like just being control, like what he wanted through the whole thing. But that's
so if he just had like a neural chip thing, like with Jarvis. So like Jarvis was just always. That'd be like if you wanted to maintain that identity, it was like, oh, you Iron Man. He goes, well, no, because here's Iron Man, and then the suit would just walk on in. They're like, yeah, we don't believe you. Take the mask off.
Get off.
No, he's not going to do that.
I think it'd be quite good.
Well, this episode certainly has put me in the mood for okay, the next one.
Yeah.
I'm more excited for it now than I was after the first one, which I didn't want to happen necessarily, because, you know, I was hoping that maybe this would get us towards like a Captain Britain, because that's a character that hasn't appeared yet.
Oh, actual Captain Britain.
Actual Captain Britain, yeah. But then
I've heard rumours
like
Cavill is rumoured to be playing Captain Britain.
I've seen a few. Yeah, like some fan art, I think, that someone's like, it's basically just sort of, it's just similar to the Captain America suit, and they've just slapped a helmet on him and just gone, boom, there's Captain Britain. But that would tie more into the magic and that sort of thing.
Got the bloody.
Yeah, but they're moving away from the magic stuff, and now they're going to the cosmic stuff, aren't they? Yeah. So
you're kind of just replacing a good strong leader with another good strong leader, but this one's got a British accent, not an American accent.
Yeah, but would everyone just go, it's just Superman now, isn't it? They just can't disassociate. Yeah. But like with the
especially
latest
as he
Eternals,
can fly and shoot energy.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, because with the new Eternals trailer, there's I can't remember. I don't know much about the Eternals at all. But there's the one who's just sort of like, I recognise him from something, I can't remember what, but he's in like the sort of greenish outfit and he's shooting like lasers from his eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this going to be the Superman that we never got? Is this going to be like is this going to be a decent Justice League film?
Well,
like,
I'm
Marvel have made, it just seems a bit.
I'm not that excited about the Eternals, I've got to say.
Really?
I mean, I am, but for different reasons. So like, I'm more interested in. So you got the Eternals, and then you've got like their like freaky counterparts, the Deviants, and Thanos is half Deviant, half Eternal, and I'm more interested in what are we going to see, like a younger Thanos, because there's a lot of this where it's going through different time periods and stuff.
I think that I reckon that'll be quite. Like that, I reckon that'd be quite quick though. It'll be them sort of like, you know, questioning is like, why can we not get involved? And then there was like, I think it was like the nuclear bomb that had gone off in Japan, and they were just sort of like, oh my god, like this is the worst thing. Like, and I think it's just going to be, it's one of those things that Marvel are just going to have to do every time they introduce a new character that have been established. It's going to be, why haven't you got involved any sooner than this? Like. Especially if you're coming in after sort of like Infinity War Endgame stuff, because then it's like the half of the universe just disappeared. Where were you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you then? Why wasn't that the trigger point to go? Oh, maybe I should get involved now. You know.
Because then we wouldn't have this film.
Yeah, but then they go. We were told by a celestial.
Yeah.
Not to get
not
involved.
to do it.
So if they say don't get involved, that's fine by me. Like Thanos that's a scary dude, but when a celestial could just done, like that's a threat you don't fuck with.
No, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's an easy way to just go. This is why we didn't do it.
Yeah, it's an easy way to just go. Yeah.
Somebody pointed out the other day in Loki when he grasses on the Avengers for they broke the time law and stuff, and they're like, no, because that's meant to be. The Thanos that they take that ends up coming from that other time period and coming to Earth, because obviously the Thanos from the past. The Thanos from the actual timeline is dead because they put the axe through his head.
Yep.
That would have triggered. That's an anomaly.
Again, but that's only if that wasn't supposed to happen.
But it shouldn't.
Of all like the Doctor Strange 4 million visions of the future, if that's the one that succeeded, that must be the prime timeline, which means that Thanos had to have come through time to then face them in that final battle where they won.
So the timeline that he came from, does that just get destroyed then? Do they just pop through and get rid of it?
Tony Stark did at the end. I reckon that's the cancelling it out. So that could have been, if he had survived and run off, that could have been like a branch point.
I still think it's lazy.
No, I don't think they thought that through. I just think that
That's what I mean. That's what I meant. Sorry, yeah.
He came through, and then they snapped him away, so he never existed. Maybe. So then that just seals that branch point straight away. So it had to happen in order to cut itself down.
Suppose. I don't like it.
That'd just be my thinking on it, but
I don't like it.
It's one of those things where it's just. They do it a lot in Star Trek, where it's just sort of like it's just time travel, and that's just how it works. Don't even worry about it.
It's fine when you just go.
They just move on past it.
Yeah, because then you just go, well, yeah, it's just time travel. But they came up with rules,
very specific set of rules,
which they broke. That's why there's not a lot of questions, but there's some aspects of it. Like the Back to the Future rule. Don't do anything with yourself, and don't touch anything, don't do anything. But
I didn't say that.
I'm saying like the Back to the Future thing, like where like Doc Brown had all these rules that you've got to follow to not fuck anything up.
Don't do a thing, otherwise this thing will happen in the future. Almanacs and all that.
Yeah, you sleep with your mum and.
I did it. Well, his grandma, but that seemed to work out all right.
I suppose. Anyway, it was just a odd question on it, but I do think it's quite a cool. If they do it, what if is a really cool thing to just try some possible things that they're going to do regarding the MCU in future. However, Dan, unless you got anything else, I got another little thing I want to talk about before we go. So we both watched a Quiet Place Part 2 at the weekend. Very, very big fan of the first film.
Yeah, real good.
Exceptionally good film by Mr. John Krasinski. And I don't know if Emily Blunt had a lot to do with the production of it, but she's very good in it.
I thought it was written and directed by, or maybe written and produced by, because I know John Krasinski directed it.
I'm pretty sure he wrote it as well.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I wasn't sure if she wrote and produced it or just wrote and was in it.
Not sure.
Anyway.
It's fantastic anyway. Second one,
really good film.
Still a very good film, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first film.
I was a little disillusioned, I think, by what this was actually going to be, because I really like the first one. I think it's a great concept of, rather than just aliens, we need to get rid of all the aliens, and how do we save the world, whatever.
Yeah.
It's more just we've got family. We don't want that family to get killed, so we keep our heads down and we just survive.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of dealing with that and what the exact steps you have to go through every day in order to make sure that you're okay and you survive. And you have to you've got to follow the rules, like Zombieland.
Yeah.
You've got your rules, you have to stick to them. As soon as you don't, they'll find you.
Endgame.
You're fucked.
You got your rules. Time travel.
Yeah. But in this though, when it started and it was like day one, and it was like, oh, it's just, it's just instant. It's just like, oh, it's a big weird thing in the sky. That's a bit odd. Well, maybe we should all just sort of back off. Before they'd even managed to get home, it was already too late.
Yeah.
Like, there was just everything everywhere. And very quickly, they obviously realised that don't make any noise. That's what they're going for, the noise. As a car that goes off, they go straight for that. The loudest thing in the area, that's what they go for. And then it very quickly just went, and we're done, and now it's the sequel. And I was like, I thought this whole thing was a prequel. I thought the whole film was a prequel.
Oh no, I was never of that.
Sequel.
I was never of that impression. Like, it's very apparent once you've seen the day one bit. The only reason that's in there is to introduce you to
Emmett. Yeah. As soon as Cillian Murphy had like a speaking role, I was like, well, you're in this for some reason, aren't you? And then as soon as it was like, oh, day 474, and then like spoilers, but then would like
massive spoilers,
and it's like the sniper scope, and I was like, that's him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like there was no. Oh my god, who could that be? There was no stranger.
Yeah.
It was just, but it was going to be. And the one thing that I really, really, really like about this is there wasn't a weird double cross. Like he didn't lose his mind and then just try and steal it. Like when the hearing aid had gone.
Well, that's what it made you think, wasn't it? It made you think
but
that.
then he was just like, oh, actually, I've just done a mission and then come back and got you. He was genuine. He meant like everything he was doing. He wasn't being a dick. He wasn't going to double cross and just turn everyone over to the cannibals or whatever. It was just like, oh, you come across someone who's just a good person who just wants to help, even though he knows that he shouldn't, because you'll get sent out into fucking monster territory to go and retrieve your idiot daughter who's just wandered off. At that point, I'd say like, look, like, don't forget he was only in a place where he's like, I don't want you to stay. Like, you're gonna just cause too much trouble. So I just need you to. You can stay for the night. You can go. And
not even 24 hours later.
I'd be like, I don't even want you here. I'm not going to go out to find your daughter who's just wandered off. Also, I have no idea where she's going. But there was the monsters. Sorry, they just seem to look a lot better in this. I think maybe they had a bit more.
Yeah, I assume they had a bit more budget this time round.
But I like the sort of just the nonsensical design of them. They've just got like this perfect armor.
Yeah.
But then
weird funky ears all over the fucking place. Like
wibbly wobbly heads and stuff. But then the only other thing that really bothered me was they find the island, like this perfect little paradise, because you go, they can't swim, and you're like, obviously. They're all like spindly and stuff like that, Well,
I don't think it's as much that. Like when as you find out in the first one, and then in this one as well, like with the water, when it goes to like the kind of point of view of the creature, everything's just like because of the sounds of the water. So I imagine they can't swim because they're just like, what the fuck?
Maybe. I just don't think that they're
actually anatomy wise. I don't think they're
I just don't think they can do it. But if everyone who's on that island, they figured out this message and they've managed to find this sanctuary, they go, right, we're on a little island, there's all water around us, there's no way that they can get here just by swimming. But I don't understand why they didn't have a safeguard. So if you know that everything is like, it's all sound based, all you need, surely, is one thing to either cause a distraction or be louder than everything else so everyone can get the fuck out
all
of
they
there.
seem to have was a car.
But that worked. That worked completely when he was just like, get in the car, honk the horn, it will just follow you because it's the loudest thing around. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But then why did you not have like a siren set up that you could just sort of like air raid on? Call that away, everyone else can just bail the fuck out or whatever. It just seemed a bit naive, but story, it's dramatic or whatever.
Even just like build something around it just so you got a little bit of protection.
I suppose what are the odds that just one would just end up on a boat and just float its way over to you?
Zoe found that bit really funny, like when they're in the boat and then you just see him on the boat. He's just like bobbing along. She's like, "Yeah, look at him. He's gone for a little boat trip." He's like, "Yes, he did." What a trip it was!
He's like, "Yay!" But that was the only thing that really kind of bugged me. Like the daughter, I really liked in this, like taking over from the sort of like the John Krasinski.
She was fine. Role. The baby was fine. Emily Blunt was fine. That fucking son there. Fuck
yeah,
me.
He was. Just like fair enough, mate. You got stuck in a bear trap.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
That's the only thing in the world that you have to worry about is calling one of those monsters to you. Bear trap goes off. You don't sit there screaming. If I was Emily Blunt, I'd be like, "You're an idiot. You know how this works." Yeah. I would have just gone, right, if that thing turns up, I'm not going to be able to get you out of that bear trap before something turns up. I would have been like, the baby's the priority. I've got to go. That's what I would have done, I reckon.
That bit, I'll give it him, because, I mean, even later on when they're in the vault and Emily Blunt gets nicked and she's screaming her head off. She's like, "No, a fucking hour ago, you fucking shouting. He was in a bear trap."
That's fine. It knows you're in there and you've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing. There's nothing to gain by trying to be quiet at that point.
When he decides to go for a walk around, why? I know, obviously, they need a reason for the monster to make its way down there.
That really wound me up.
But it's like, just stay in, look after the fucking kid.
Yeah. And like, he didn't check the thing. I thought it was going to get to a point. I thought it was going to go really dark, and he was going to like try and save the baby. And didn't know that it was out of air. Yeah. And then by the time they get to it, suffocated.
Yeah, I honestly thought the same thing.
Yeah, because they were making such a thing of like good touch as well. Like they get in there, he times it. Like he knows how much oxygen they've got in there, and they know when they need to get out. Great touch, I think.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. Like Emily Blunt had this like cool, like almost like Matrix style kind of like circling thing with this monster, like all the rain's coming down, and she's got one of the oxygen tanks out, and then she shoots it, explodes, and nothing happens. Yeah. He just sort of like wanders through, and she's like,
"Shit."
Yeah.
That's a waste of an oxygen tank as well.
That was a waste of an oxygen tank. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that was the great thing. It's just that you didn't just put one just explosion under it and that'll kill it. It's like, well, why the fuck didn't the army sort them all out if that was all it took?
Well, I don't understand how it took so long. Like we're on like day 400 and something before we know that they can't swim.
Well, no, because they what's his face, the guy who's in charge of the island.
Obviously, they figured it out. But I mean, they were right by that lake at the house, like in the first one, and he's like takes him there because he can shout because of the waterfall.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah,
there must have been creatures in water in places where they just fucking drowned.
But if you just got on a boat, like a big yacht, like a big party yacht or something like that, you wouldn't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah,
they'd never be able to get to you.
No, that's all you need to do is just have like an island place. That's all you need.
Well,
whether it's on the way. No, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like they're just living like. I mean, submarine would be even fucking better.
Yeah. And then you just pop up every now and then, just shoot them on the.
You just got to worry about sharks then.
Oh, that'd piss you off, wouldn't it? You just you got yourself a boat, you got all your supplies and everything sorted. You go out to sea and you get eaten by a fucking shark.
And it's just what they can hear it.
From this, though, I want to see. So, I purposely don't sort of do this thing. I prefer the sort of the speculation side of it rather than just going, "Oh, here's the answer." But are they an invasion force? So, are they sent in, clear out the population, and then an alien culture will land and take over or whatever?
Maybe.
Because if that's the case, I would like that to be the third one.
Yeah, so
they send all the dogs down or whatever, and they go, right, you've got 3 years. After that, the odds of everyone still being alive, it's going to be slim to none by that point. But those who do, they can survive. Like we'll take over the planet, we'll populate, we'll terraform it and do whatever we need to. But those guys, clearly, they can survive.
Yeah.
So they're worthy of survival. So we'll, either pop them on an island or something like that, or take them away. I kind of just want there to be some explanation as to why they're there, rather than just.
I would assume there's going to be a
just
third
happen
one
to be there.
because we don't even know what happened.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Obviously, the daughter and
Emmett, they get pretty. Well, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's going to survive. But obviously, they're on the island. They're still in the fucking bunker.
And how are they getting out?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
that big tube thing fell through, didn't it?
Yeah. And you can still get through. You can still get through the vault thing, can't you? It's just there's a hole at the side of it that he went through.
Oh yeah, because she came in through a different way, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he'd already torn through the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
So they can get out. It's just they don't know where they're going.
And they know that. Well, no, because they know where the daughter went. Because they know that the signal works.
Yeah. That's what they do. They just go on the radio, but they'd have to then turn the radio off.
No, because she told the brother where she was going. She was like, "This is the island beyond the sea. This is where the thing is." So they know where it is. But then you don't want the sort of like weird rapist cannibals or whatever the fuck they were like on the. I tell you what though, it's. Again, there was some really sort of like really well thought through things. So like with the weird cannibal rapists, like they get the kid to like put that noose around his neck, and they didn't have any weapons.
Yeah,
like that was enough because like if you move, you're going to get killed by the monsters. So for most people, they just wouldn't move, knowing that whatever, like because if I move. They're gonna come and get me. So I love the fact that they just thought that something that's going to make loads of noise, we'll just put that on you. You're not going to move, and that's all we need. Yeah. They didn't think, well, what if they just run at us and grab a hold of us?
What if they do something?
It didn't even get to that point because they were just like, obviously everyone's more scared of the monsters than they are going to be of us, and we'll just that will do. So it wasn't like he just he tried to jump and then he got like stabbed. Or like beaten or anything like that. They didn't prepare whatsoever. And then all the noise starts happening and they're just like, oh god, what do we do?
I did like that though, like where he had him at the post and then stabbed him in the leg and then held him there and went in the water.
He screamed. I thought that was because I thought I was like, oh, that's kind of like a cool sacrifice thing. He's just going to grab a hold of this dude and he's just not going to let go and get him killed. But then, even then, he was just like, "Yeah, I'm not going to die here, though."
I thought that. For this guy,
I'm going to get you up against this pole. I'm going to stab you, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of the way.
So honestly, it was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. But I enjoyed the first one so much, I can't help but be disappointed in this one, purely because it wasn't. I honestly thought this was one of them films where, like Emily Blunt and John Krasinski are like, if it's not as good as the first one, I'm not doing it. That's how I envisioned it, and it's as good as the first one. I just don't think it hits the same levels of just like the sound design and cinematography and like just the characters themselves. I found far more interesting and compelling in the first one. Obviously, you get a lot more time to get to know John Krasinski's character and how he thinks about stuff. Like even in.
Sorry,
No. I was just going to say, even in that very brief period of the like day one, you see all of that characteristics still there, where he is helping other people and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, who is he? Like, is he a member of the police force? Like, because like the cop just drives up and it's like, yeah, here's what the situation is.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, was he a cop?
He must be a cop or something, or ex-army or.
But like you say, everyone just seems to know him, and he's got 1,000 things to do. And like he just walks out of a shop, and he's like, "Yo, I'm just taking these oranges," and he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it," because he's got a tab or something. Like clearly a very small, very kind of contained town. And then it just goes a bit War of the Worlds, where like there's a monster immediately, and it's not sort of like, oh my god, what's happening? It's just like, just straight to the truck. Let's just get the fuck out of here. And then she goes running out the truck like a fucking maniac as well.
Because I what is the reason?
There's No, they'd gone past a mom's car and then they crashed into the thing. But that's what I was going to ask. I don't know, everyone just seems to talk in sign language mainly, but I think it's only the daughter that's deaf, right? Yeah, because it's I suppose just when you're used to, like, it's not worth saying something out loud if you can just sign it instead.
Well, you get that moment in this, which again, it's not even touched on that much, but when they're underneath, and he starts, and he's just like, yeah, so there's this blah blah, and she's like, and he's just like, no, it's like however many layers of concrete, like, it's fine, don't worry about it. But obviously she's gone that long not being able to talk. Like, 400 days is a long fucking time to be quiet.
Yeah, or just the odd word every now and then.
Yeah.
Especially if your son and your husband have both been killed by monsters. I was hoping that he'd come back and he'd just be sort of like stumbling like over back to them.
Oh, the dad?
Yeah.
I mean, he got pretty fucking killed in the first one.
But that's the thing, did we see him actually Hollywood die?
No, but you see him get shredded. And not like,
he just gets like
fucking hench
pounded into a thing.
Yeah, and then it puts on it and fucking.
He could have walked away from that. He just screamed like right into its face.
John Krasinski can.
Yeah, he's a fucking beast, that guy.
But yeah, I'd say excellent film.
I genuinely want a third one of these.
I do.
I want it to be. I want an explanation for it.
Is there a book? Is this based on a book?
No, I thought they made it up.
I thought they did, but I've just remembered I can't remember if it was the beginning or the end. It's based on characters created by, and then it's not Emily Blunt nor John Krasinski. So I didn't know if it's based on some kind of other property.
Look, it could be like it's like someone did like a 30-page short story about something like that.
Because if it is, that would be very interesting. I'd say it's scarier, but it's on the same kind of thing as like the first Alien film, where it's more tense.
It's got the same kind of thing though. So like the first film, it just seemed to be like just one monster that was just sort of like pestering them. Whereas in the second one, then it's all monsters all over the place
and cannibal rapists.
I mean,
which are arguably worse.
But because I think that was quite well foreshadowed by Cillian Murphy. It was just like when Emily Blunt's just like, "Why didn't you like try and come and see us or visit us?" And he was like, "Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that you don't want to try and see."
Yeah.
Like that was quite good. That not everyone is just sort of like hunkered down and all taking care of each other or whatever. They've completely committed to the world's fucked, so I'm going to just be a cannibal rapist.
Oh, the same token though. Why didn't they go and try and find him?
Yeah. Not that I can see.
No, that's it. I wasn't sure. I just remember seeing it on there saying either based on or characters created by, and then two other people.
I mean, it could have been someone else that just came up with it, maybe.
But idea stolen by John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Overheard in a pub by John Krasinski. But I'll tell you what is a good scary movie, and the only reason I watched it is because I can't remember her name. Annette something, I think it is. Who's the sort of the mom of the family? Hereditary. Yeah, that is a freaky, spooky. Like, not jump scares for the sake of jump scares. It's very fucking just awful and tense and blah. That's a really good film. That's on Netflix.
I like a good horror film, but
have you seen Hereditary?
Yeah, I'm not big. Doesn't do a lot for me.
Didn't like it?
Nah.
No.
Well, back in the day, it probably would have been quite freaky, but like, not because I'm a big I'm not a big hard man, but like most horror films are just like, not particularly. They're not particularly scary. Do you know what film scared me the most? When I was younger, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and that scared me. I was like 7 or 8 when I watched it, and I was
definitely shouldn't be watching
I shouldn't have been watching it, but I was sleeping at my friend Philip's house, And
at a sleepover, anything goes. Porn and horror and whatever.
Yeah, we were having a wank. We were watching Freddy Krueger.
The most scared wank of my life.
We did it with blades as well to make it even scarier. But and I was just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I want to go home. And Philip's mum rang my granddad and he come and pick me up because I was a big pussy. And that's not what he said. But my granddad was taking the opportunity of me not being at home to decorate my room. So I've got home. My granddad's like, get to bed because it's late. And I've gone upstairs and my bed is in the middle of the room. There's plastic sheets everywhere. And my granddad had this like big massive bag that was all like full of like painting like utensils, like big rollers on sticks and stuff. And all night I could just see Freddy's claws like coming out of the bag and just
he just push you in the room, so sleep tight, light off, door, bang.
And I was just like all night. And then a few years later I watched, it's not really a film, but did you ever watch the Roswell's conspiracy? It was like a documentary thing about
the Anton Deck thing.
No. That's what that film's based on, though. So
right, okay, so the creation of the alien autopsy video.
Yeah, so the obviously it was a fake dummy, but the alien. Was it? No. But spoilers. I mean, like, I knew it was a fake alien, and the dummy just used to freak me the fuck out.
Really?
Just its face. It just had this weird fucking mouth and eyes and nose and stuff. And my sister always used to put it on, just because it used to freak me out. And ever since that day, I had this big like really old-fashioned wardrobe in my room. It was like an old, I'd say vintage thing, but it had like a proper key lock to it. So it wasn't just like you just open and close it, it had a lock on it. And I would always wake up in the night and see an eye looking from the other side at me. And he's just freaked me the fuck out. They're the only things that like genuinely really scared me. And then
that is pretty freaky.
After that, I was like 21 then. But after there's no other film has ever scared me like Nightmare on Elm Street, Roswell, which kind of merged into the weird eye in the wardrobe thing. But other than that, like films, I was like, eh.
I do remember when I was about 13, 14-ish. I'd watched, it must have been First Contact, Star Trek First Contact.
Real scary film.
And I do remember being in bed, and I must have been, it must have been either I was asleep and I dreamt it, or it was that sort of like, you sort of hallucinating.
Yeah.
So like you're awake in the real world, but your dream stuff's kind of coming through. And I could, because there's quite a lot of, it's not a scary film obviously, but there's a lot of sort of like very sort of like
scary how good it is.
Ding, there you go. Once we come. But you know, there's a lot of sort of like mutilation and, you know, people's arms and eyes getting poked out and that sort of stuff, and you know, it's very sort of claustrophobic and creepy. And I remember I couldn't get to sleep that night because I kept on seeing what I saw, but it was the shadow of like a Borg like coming into my room, and I was like, I don't want to get simulated. Like these days, I'd be like, yeah, bring it on. I don't have to worry about work. I don't have to do anything interesting. I could just pop me in the collective and send me away to space. That's fine by me. But yeah, that really freaked me out when I was a kid.
It is weird that like how things can affect you. Even something as boring and mundane as like a tree shadow through a window onto a wall and stuff. I mean,
things that you don't see in the dark.
Yeah,
you know,
it's unnerving.
Always on edge.
And like,
plus, I think if I reckon if you got a kid and you kept him in. Just you never sort of
in the dark.
Well, no, but you know, you just said you never mentioned any monsters in the dark, any like vampires or witches or, you know, things that can get you in, you know, things go bump in the night or whatever, ghosts and whatever. If you never told them about that and they were never exposed to like that in like TV or movies or books or whatever, you know, the concept of that there could be something out there that you can't see or feel or hear or whatever, I reckon that they would never get scared by anything Like, going to bed would be absolutely fine. Lights off, because it's just darker and you can go to sleep quicker.
Yeah.
I don't think that your imagination would run quite so wild if you didn't know about those things to kind of freak you out.
Kind of just like spur it on, kind of.
Yeah.
thing.
So you watch Freddy. You see Freddy, trying to climb out through a bag of tools or whatever, which sounds like a very Freddy thing to do. To be fair, the builder's kid coming out through the fucking with those massages on all of his fingers, like, vibrate you to death.
Vibrate.
But I think that's a social experiment I could definitely get behind. So, but then if you sat there together like 18 and just said, "Oh, do you know what a ghost is?" And like, I've never heard of it. And you go, "Oh, basically, like when someone's died in like a horrible or painful or whatever way, their spirit will remain and haunt the house, and this is the house that you're in." I reckon from that night onwards, every bump they'd be like, "It's the ghost. The ghost is here to get me." Like as soon as that's been put in your brain, I reckon.
I have never been like, I mean, we've been sat on that very sofa behind me, and Zoe's heard something. She's like, "Oh my god, what's that?" I'm like, "I don't know, I don't
Probably
care."
A pipe.
Yeah,
wood.
I'm watching fucking telly. They've got to come through this door. So, like, if they come
and if
through,
it's a ghost, what do you want me to do about it?
But I remember when my granddad died, and I was obviously I lived with him, and I was in the house on my own the day after he died, and I remember watching Jack Nicholson like Batman '89, and just sat watching it, and I kept hearing stuff downstairs, and like, I mean, he can't be back already. Took me an hour to get home. But like everything I heard was just like, but it was kind of like the same. I remember watching like TV or playing on a game or something in my room, and I just hear him banging around in the kitchen, and I'm pretty sure it's just because it's like, oh, it's 20 to 10. He's going to be making some supper. Yeah. And it's just all in my head.
Your brain's just filling it in.
Yeah. But it honestly got to a point where I wasn't necessarily scared, but I rang my sister and just said, "Can I stay at your house tonight?" Because
it's a bit freaky.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like hearing, I knew at the time it was either just someone breaking into the house, or most likely just because I was so used to hearing all these things every single day at near enough the same time every night. It was just in my head. But
it's
because
the same that, people do believe in ghosts, and they go to a haunted, house, like not like a fairground haunted house, but like it's the most. Oh, I see it. It's like, yeah, it's a guy in a sheep. But like it's like the most haunted hotel in Britain or whatever. Yeah. If you believe in ghosts and you go to a place that's specifically haunted, well, of course you're gonna hear shit and see ghosts and whatever. Yeah. Like if you and me went and they were like, "Oh, this is a haunted hotel or whatever," and I saw a shadow, or there was someone coming up the stairs, I wouldn't go, "Oh my god, it's a ghost." I'd be like, "Oh, there's someone coming up the stairs. That's weird."
Yeah. How weird is it people use stairs still?
It's like, I thought the stairs were broken.
But that's how they work, though, isn't it? That kind of shit where they just go like, I'm sensing
don't get me started.
You had a loved one. Yes, I did. Like, have you
lost someone recently? Yeah, that's why I came to a fucking seance, mate.
I'd like to go there and just go, no. No.
If I didn't have to pay for it, because a lot of these sort of like psychics.
My sister's done a few of them.
There was someone I used to work with who sort of been to see some sort of psychic. It was, I can't remember if it was just like a horoscope psychic, sort of like what's your future going to be, or if it's like, oh, spirits or whatever. But like, because obviously, like people like Darren Brown and like people who have claimed to be psychics and have then kind of come forward and gone, well, actually, no, it's just all, it's just reading people and
Yeah.
But I think that there's probably quite a few people who have got the ability to like read cues and understand like what people are doing, like micro expressions and things like that, and kind of pick up on things like innately, but they attribute it to something else. So there's some people who just absolutely 100% bullshit it, but then there's people who I think are doing the same thing without realizing it, and they're just assuming it's ghosts rather than just they're quite observant.
I remember this is getting fucking morbid, but I remember when my mum died. I remember being in bed. I didn't have a computer chair. I had a stool that was like next to my bed, and I remember waking up in the night and seeing my mum just sat on the stool sewing, and I just went back to sleep. And I was telling my sister and my granddad like the next day, even though I was very young when it happened, but even then I still don't believe I saw her. And I was sat on my granddad's lap on his chair, and I don't know if you remember, but to the side you had the hallway, and then you had the stairs, and in front of the stairs with that big like full length mirror, and from the chair you could see like the top of the stairs. And I remember just sat like just curled up on my granddad's lap. I was quite upset just because I like thought I saw her, and I could see her at the top of the stairs. And even then, all the way up to now, because she just died and I wanted to see her.
Yeah, of course.
That's all it was. And
it's like when you think you hear a certain person's voice in a crowd, or you know your phone has had like the same ringtone for like 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And let's say you've got your headphones on and you listen to a thing and something just sounds just enough like it, you'll be like, oh, is that my phone?
Yeah. Especially if you've got like a song as your ringtone.
Exactly.
And the start that song goes.
You'll pick it up, like, 100%. So I think that I remember when I was a kid, I went to the Millennium Dome, so in the year 2000, I take it, when it was actually, like, a thing, rather than just, like, an event centre. I mean, it wasn't particularly wow, but I remember because I wrote a letter to the local paper. This is what I was doing when I was like, it's because it was the Millennium Dome and it was this like incredible, like, oh my god, it's like, like Tokyo and robots and lasers and whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I must have seen something in the paper that was talking about it, or like, this wondrous thing, like a Stark Expo where it's just like the latest whatever. And it wasn't anything like that at all. It was just, it was some like cool exhibits. It was like art, and there was this one thing that's just what it's reminded me of. And like as you're walking up like a ramp to go to like a different area, there's like 20 or 30 speakers, all down the side of this ramp, and like, every one of them
blaring stuff out, or people with microphones. Yeah. Right, got it.
No, like built into the side of the path going up.
Yeah.
And every one of them, I don't know if they're all saying the same sentence or whatever, I assume probably so, but every one of them was playing a different language. So let's say it's like, hello, how are you today? But it would be that in Russian and Chinese and French and whatever. So there's this like cacophony of noise as you're going up there, but you can instantly hear which one is playing your language and understand it.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, even in the midst of so much chaos, you can still pick up your own language. Yeah. Like straight away and understand what's being said, because everything else, your brain blanks out as noise. So like that, there's some cool stuff there, and there was like James Bond things there, and the only thing that I truly remember was something called the Euromac, because they had a McDonald's like in the Millennium Dome, and it was like a triple Big Mac together, and else, the Mega Mac it might have been called, something like that anyway. And I couldn't find it anywhere else other than when I saw it in the Millennium Dome. But like the paper had like basically hyped this up as like this like exclusive. Oh my god, it's like, it's a life-changing thing. And I was like, it's really not. Like it's just it's fun and it's cool and it's like interactive and it's a bit of science or whatever. But it's about as much as like any sort of like science museum.
I like that was like the first unsatisfied Steam review.
It was like my Yelp review, and I sent it into the Express and Star. But I like the fact that it wasn't even like the local newspaper. Oh yeah, it was like the Wolverhampton Express and Star. That's all,
right,
that's all it was.
It
wasn't like the Guardian or something. Yeah. But I was just so incensed, I had to write to the paper about it and just be like, "This is don't give this any more credit than it's due. Like, don't travel all the way down to London expecting to see Teslas like that can fly or whatever." It's just going to be some cool stuff and some interesting things, and that's about it.
Overpriced.
So, probably so, yeah. Very much so, yeah.
Anyway,
but it was that sort of thing. That's what made me think of it, anyway. you just see a thing that your brain wants you to see because it's thinking of something to do with that. It's just your brain
how the brain
connected
works.
shit.
It's very clever. It's very impressive stuff, and we are absolutely not smart enough to try and get to the bottom of it.
No, and we're certainly not putting it to good use either.
Definitely not. Tell you what you can do though with your brain. You can use it to think of the muscles you need to use to type out www.podcastversusplayer.com and have a look at the stuff we got on there. We got some new Let's Plays.
Disgusting.
It was brilliant, is what it was.
Yeah.
We got some new Let's Plays. There's obviously previous podcast. Last episode, Dan presented it. He does every 50 episodes, and the last one was your 4th one, and it was very good. It was very good. So you can go check that out. I assume if you've listened to this one, you've already listened to it because kind of makes sense.
Would you be here?
Yeah. But yeah, we've got some new reviews up. There's some more reviews to go up. Obviously, more Let's Plays, more game shows, quizzes, whatever else we're doing.
Exciting news for things to come, though, Callum.
Yes, but we can't talk about it. Or can we talk about it? Are we thinking about the same thing?
I don't know, are we?
I don't know. You go first.
This week? The only thing of note that's going to happen this week?
What's happening this week?
The end of the week, Callum.
Oh, yeah. Retro Shenanigans is back. I thought we was talking about
I do not know what you were thinking.
I thought we were on about the one of the guests that. Well, two guests, but obviously we can't talk about them yet.
No, we can't.
That's why I had in my head, and then you said this week. I'm like, shit, is it this week?
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, we're going to be together. We're going to be reunited.
Finally.
Reunited after a long time.
Almost 2 years.
Nearly 2 years, yeah. Probably coming up to. It would either be this month or October. Would have been the last time.
I think it was endish of the year, not the end of the year.
No,
endish.
It was October because we went pumpkin picking.
Yeah, that was it. So it was October 2019.
Yeah.
That was the last time I was down there. So we're just going to try and just
COVID.
squeeze in as much content as we can. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, really, does it?
Absolutely not. I'm going to make yours into a GIF. Anyway, that's enough. This has been a pretty long one. It must be said, but it's been a fun one. And thanks for joining me, Dan. It's been a pleasure as always. We have got some more. I say we're going to do some more Let's Plays this week, so they'll be up later on in the week. And then I'm very much looking forward to filming on Friday because Retro Shenanigans is back. Whatever else? We've got a special news show that we're going to be doing that I'm assuming Dan's already forgot about.
No, I remember that you didn't tell me anything about it and you refused to.
Yeah, that.
Okay, sure. Well, that'll be fun.
But yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm very much looking forward to it.
As am I.
It's one of the few times I am wishing the week away.
Oh yeah, because you never do that usually. It's like, oh, why can't there be more work
I wish it was Monday every day.
Well, that'll do for me. So, like you said, we're going to do some more recording in the week before we get to that point. But then on Friday, we're going to go pretty hard, and we're just going to try and because again, with things kind of being a bit weird at the moment, we don't know if this is going to be.
This could be the last time for another 2 years.
Potentially. So it's best to just sort of squeeze in as much as we possibly can do, really.
It's alright. It's worth a giggle.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
Right. We shall see you on the next one. Thanks for listening. Bye. Can we pipe bomb it? Shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Callum.
I was trying to pipe bomb it.
Just shoot it. Just shoot. Mate, why don't you just start fucking doing your job properly, Vice President Material, my tits? Like, you're going to have to shoot that because I haven't got enough bullets to do it.
Oh, I'm out.
What do you mean?
Helicopter killed me.
For the love of fucking Christ, Callum. If I was going to just do this thing on my own, I wouldn't have bothered asking your stupid ass to get involved, would I? Right, get in the car. Not in the back.
I don't want to sit in the front with you.
Right, I've got 14 bullets left for this.
Why don't we just use the pipe bombs?
Oh, Callum, I'm going to fucking hide you in a minute. Why don't we just use the pipe bombs? I'll tell you what. Fucking have at it. If you think you can blow one of these things off using a pipe bomb, feel bloody free.
Okay.
Brilliant.
It works.
So you
Yeah,
fucking
but it
dildo.
works. It took the brake off, Dan. Did it not?